Let me tell you something. The Chicago Bears are cooking right now, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss the moment this franchise changes forever. Caleb Williams is turning heads. Luther Burden III might just be the most dangerous receiver in the NFC North, and the stadium saga. Still an absolute circus. Buckle up, because this OTA breakdown is going to hit different. If you love Bears football and you want this kind of passionate, in-depth coverage every single day, hit that like button, share this video with every Bears fan you know, and subscribe right now because we are not slowing down. Here is the question I want you sitting with from the jump. Does this Bears roster, right now, today, have what it takes to make a legitimate Super Bowl run? Think about that. Because after what we've seen and heard from these OTAs, the answer might genuinely surprise you. Let's start where every conversation about this team has to start. Caleb Williams. Year 2. New mindset. Elevated everything. The reports coming out of practice are not just good, they're the kind of reports that make a fanbase start dreaming. His offensive coordinator has been raving, and the specific detail that jumped out wasn't just general praise. It was about improved accuracy and ball placement. Now, a lot of casual fans hear accuracy and think completion percentage. But real football heads know it goes so much deeper than that. Ball placement determines yards after the catch. It determines whether your receiver can turn a 5-yard gain into a 15-yard gain. It determines whether your offense can sustain drives when everything else breaks down. And in a modern, fast-paced, yards-after-contact offensive system, that skill is absolutely priceless. The fact that his coaching staff is already seeing meaningful improvement in that specific area, in June, before pads are even on, that is genuinely exciting. Add in the cultural moment he's having off the field, landing on the Madden cover, doing major media appearances, and the energy around QB1 right now is at an all-time high. Year 2. This is his moment. Now let's talk about the man who might be stealing the number 1 receiver crown before the season even begins. Luther Burden III. Folks, the reviews coming out of these OTAs are borderline ridiculous. Multiple reporters, multiple sessions, all saying the same thing. This young man looks like a completely different player. Faster. Bigger. Sharper. Playing inside, playing outside, running in motion, coming out of motion, doing every single thing you'd ask of a true wide receiver one. And here's what makes this so exciting. When they drafted him, the scouting report screamed that he was built for this exact style of offense. Yards after the catch. Toughness. Blocking. Ability to break tackles. Full route tree. He checks every single box. And now his coaches are saying that the game is slowing down for him. He's not thinking anymore. He lines up and he just plays. That is the leap. That is the moment when a talented rookie becomes a legitimate weapon. When the mental load disappears and the physical gifts take over, that's when special players become dangerous players. Luther Burden III, right now, as of these OTAs, looks like the wide receiver one for Caleb Williams. And that should have every single Bears fan fired up. Question of the day, and I genuinely want you to drop this in the comments below. Who is your wide receiver one for the Chicago Bears heading into this season? Is it Luther Burden III, or are you still riding with Rome? Speaking of young weapons, let's give some shine to Zavion Thomas, the rookie speedster who is already making noise in practice. This kid had what reporters were calling the catch of the day in one session. And here's the thing about Thomas that separates him from your typical burner. He has hands. Real hands. He only had 2 drops in his entire final college season. For a player who runs at an elite level and plays with that kind of explosiveness, that's rare. Most elite speed guys have some inconsistency in the hands department. Thomas doesn't. He's also going to contribute on special teams in the return game, which adds immediate value to a roster. Now, is he going to be getting 50 snaps a game as a rookie? Probably not. But this coaching staff is already drawing up specific packages for him, and as the season progresses and he gets more comfortable, his role is going to grow. Keep a very close eye on this kid come training camp. On the defensive side of the ball, there's actually some cautiously encouraging news. Two key defenders who went through significant injury situations last season, a defensive lineman recovering from a torn Achilles and the veteran linebacker, were both out on the field in some capacity. Now, for the guy coming back from the Achilles, even limited participation this early is a massive positive sign. If he can be ready for Week 1, this defense gets a serious boost up front. The linebacker looks further along in his recovery, and should be full go by the time training camp opens. Both of these players have a lot to prove this season. Their contracts make them movable after this year, and the front office will be watching closely. Healthy and producing, that's the only path forward for both of them. Now for the other side of the ledger. The concerns. And there are a few that are worth paying real attention to. Roman Jones, and listen, I want to be clear, this is not a pile-on, is dealing with a foot situation that honestly doesn't sound great. When a reporter asked him whether he feels back to normal after his stress fracture last year, his answer was something along the lines of, "This is my new normal." He described ongoing structural changes in his foot from the way the break healed, calluses, shifted bones, a constant rehab routine just to stay functional. Now he's practicing. He's not in pain in the traditional sense. But hearing a player in his mid-20s describe a chronic foot condition as his new normal heading into what should be a breakout year, that's concerning. And when you layer that on top of Luther Burden's OTA explosion and the fact that this receiver was mostly sidelined toward the end of last season, the competitive picture at wide receiver becomes really fascinating and a little uncomfortable. This is a massive year for him. And right now, the vibes around that foot situation are not where you'd want them to be. Then there's the cornerback situation. One of the key pieces of the secondary has been dealing with yet another soft tissue issue this spring, working off to the side while his teammates rep full sessions. Hamstring, groin, calf, soft tissue problems that plagued him all of last season and limited him to just 3 games. His head coach didn't sugarcoat it. He said essentially, either of us were happy with how last season went, and this spring was supposed to be the reset, and we're still not there. That's a blunt assessment. And the deeper issue is that when a player spends that much time in the training room, they're not building chemistry with coaches. They're not installing the playbook. They're not earning trust. And trust, this coaching staff has made very clear, is everything. When he's healthy, this guy is a versatile, elite-level chess piece in the secondary. The talent is not the question. The body is the question. He needs to be ready and available by training camp. Full stop. And finally, because it simply will not go away, the stadium situation. The Bears' board of directors voted to advance development on a potential site in Hammond, Indiana. A world-class stadium, regional transformation, connecting northwest Indiana to the south side of Chicago, that's the pitch. But here's the reality. Nothing is finalized. Nothing is signed. This appears to be a high-stakes pressure play designed to force the state of Illinois to call a special legislative session and pass the kind of funding framework that would keep the Bears in state. And Illinois still might blink. The Bears' preference, by most credible accounts, is still to stay in Illinois. But the back and forth, the announcements, the counter-announcements, it is exhausting. And the frustrating part. It doesn't look like this is getting resolved before training camp. Which means we'll be talking about it again. And again. So let me leave you with this. The talent is here. The coaching staff is here. The quarterback is ascending. The weapons are arriving. Everything is pointing toward a Bears team ready to make real noise. The only thing standing between this franchise and a legitimate breakthrough might just be staying healthy, staying focused, and getting out of their own way off the field. Bear down.